Welcome to episode 19 of Full Court Magic. I am your host, Don Strouble, the Orlando Magic beat writer for Roundtable Sports. And this episode, as always, is powered by Roundtable Sports. You can find the link to our Roundtable community in the description. As I've said before, this is a platform in which we, the writers, are able to interact with you, our audience, in a way that uh, cannot really be done on other platforms. We are really trying to make this a social and inclusive environment. And the best part about it is there's no paywall. So please click that link in the description to join our community. All right, folks, let's get right into it. So the Orlando Magic lost to the Philadelphia 76ers in the number 7, number 8 play-in game on Wednesday night, 109-97. The game was in Philadelphia. It was a game that I've talked about on the last couple shows with my colleague Anthony Aguirre that the Magic should have hosted, but they blew a game to the shorthanded Boston Celtics on Sunday that compelled them to the 8th seed, forced them to go to Xfinity Mobile Arena to visit the 76ers, where they just did not have enough on offense, despite a big performance by Desmond Bane. And now this is a team that is on life support. They will host the Charlotte Hornets on Friday. The Hornets are the 9th seed after an electric overtime victory over the Miami Heat on Tuesday to kick off this play-in tournament slate of games. And the Magic have not had a lot of luck with the Hornets throughout the season, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Yeah, so once again, like I said, 109-97 loss. Desmond Bane was really the only consistent source of offense for this team. He had 34 points, 10 of 16 shooting, 4 of 6 from the three-point line, hit 10 of his 11 free throw attempts. But otherwise, it was a pretty dismal effort from the Magic on the offensive end. Just 33 of 81 overall. That's good for 40.7%, or rather, not good. The same can be said for the three-point shooting. It was even more egregious. 7 of 27, which means that Desmond Bane hit 4 of those 7 shots that the Magic missed. That is a 25.9% shooting clip from beyond the arc, and just not good enough against a team that can make you pay in a variety of ways, even without Joel Embiid. And it's not like the 76ers shot well either. 38 of 85, 44.7%. They were much better from three, 12 of 35, good for 34.3%. Tyrese Maxey led the way with 31. VJ Edgecombe added 19. Kelly Oubre Jr. added 19. Paul George had 16. Andre Drummond had 14. And so that's kind of the story, folks. The 76ers were able to turn the Magic over in critical moments. The Magic ended with 15 turnovers that the 76ers turned into 15 points. So we've definitely seen worse games from the Magic in terms of turnovers, but that was the one blemish on Bane's night was 5 turnovers. Paolo Banchero had 6, and so those two combined for 11 of Orlando's 15 turnovers. And we're going to get into Paolo Banchero here soon because this was as rough a night as you could ask for from the player that's supposed to be the face of the franchise and your superstar, your max contract guy. And Paolo just did not give that kind of effort. And it's kind of crazy to me. I was looking at the numbers after the fact. And on Sunday, when the Magic lost to the Boston Celtics, Paolo had a triple double, but it was not an efficient one by any means. He went 7 of 22 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3-point range, and committed 6 turnovers. Last night, in those 3 categories, he was identical. 7 of 22 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3-point range and 6 turnovers. Like, guys, you can't like the Magic aren't going to go very far if he's playing that way. And by the way, no triple double. No triple double. 18 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 block. Um he was a minus 17 and only took 6 free throw attempts, made 4 of them. Whereas I believe against Boston, I think he took 9 and made 11. So, it's just he talked after the game and he was not one to dodge accountability. I'll at least give him that. He wasn't trying to stray away from, the fact that he played poorly, but it is so crazy to me that in back-to-back games, critical games, and last night's even more so than Sunday's, Paolo Banchero could not shoot efficiently. And I collaborated on a little project with my good friend Antonio Mendez, who runs the Lifer Sports, really great independent news organization that he's doing well in covering all facets of sports. Makes great graphics on the daily, so please follow him on Instagram at the Lifer Sports, and see what he has to say and get a look at his analysis because it's quality stuff. I can collaborated with him on a little project where I created like 5 bullet points of what the Magic needed to do. And one of those was, a question of whether or not Paolo would have an efficient shooting night. Especially after that game against Boston, I was curious if he would bounce back. We've seen Paolo Banchero in the playoffs, and one place where he has been a rising star, especially last season, is in playoff matchups. I mean, we're talking about a guy who his shooting percentages went through the roof. He finished in the top 10 of scoring average in last year's postseason, despite the fact that the Magic only lasted 5 games in a round one series against the Boston Celtics. He still finished in 6th place at, I believe it was 29 and a half points a game. I'd have to double check that. But point being, when it's time for Paolo to show up in the postseason, he does. Not last night. Not last night. And I know this isn't technically the playoffs yet, but this was a postseason game with a postseason atmosphere. I mean, I talked about this on the shows before. The Magic had 2 chances to get into a playoff series against either the Boston Celtics, which that's been squandered now, or the Detroit Pistons as the 8th seed. And so it's gonna like Paolo's just gonna have to play better. Like this team is not gonna go far, not only with the time they have left this year, but in general. In general, like so, no matter what happens to this Magic squad, Paolo, he took the time to look himself in the mirror before uh, the All Star break or during the All Star break, and he had that interview after where he showed incredible maturity and the intangibles of great leadership when he held himself accountable and I'm paraphrasing here, but basically talked about not being selected as an all-star, and he talked about knowing that he didn't deserve it, that he hadn't played well enough, and it was time for him to look in the mirror, and he did, and he came out roaring out of the gates out of that all-star break and really helped the Magic be successful through the end of February and up through mid-March before that really bad losing streak. And he looked like the kind of player that we always thought that he could be and who he's demonstrated to be before. Um, but these last 2 games are not indicative of that. They're not. I mean, you got a guy who is 6'10, 250. And yes, he was being walled off in the paint. The 76ers knew how to defend him, but to be taking catch and shoot corner threes in crunch time, I just, one of his open shots, first half, he gets baseline, 10-footer, uncontested, just rims off. I just don't understand what's happened. But he talked after the game, and I'll read you guys some quotes if you haven't heard uh, his post game presser already. And he talked about just his performance and he said, obviously we didn't shoot well. I didn't shoot well, so that's tough. I thought Dez had it going, and it's on me. It's on the other guys to be able to perform at a level, excuse me, to where we can get that win because he brought it, and including myself, just not making shots and coming up short today. Uh, and so he talked about the frustration in those moments. He said, "Yeah, I mean, you just live with the result and come out Friday in front of the home crowd and go get a win. That's all you can do." Shots didn't fall, but can't be discouraged. He talked about, some of it, he expanded even more on the struggles. When he was asked, what do you feel like you have to do or what you can do to break that down in terms of the defense and getting a lot of attention and get out of some of these shooting slumps. He said, "Yeah, I just continue to try to make quick decisions. Don't hesitate. I think I had some looks in the start of the second half that I didn't shoot. And when you do that, I think, excuse me, I think the basketball gods aren't going to reward you because then I had another couple of shots that felt good that didn't go in. And so just a frustrating night for me for sure." So Paolo was honest. Like he knows he played bad. He knows that he could have played better and that indecision led to missed opportunities. But it's easy to talk about things, but to put those words in action is what matters. And this is it. This is the last chance. And so I'm going to touch on Charlotte briefly. I just want to pull up some numbers from that game against the Heat. But this is a team that clearly, had some postseason jitters. This is a team that has not been, uh, you know, in the same realm of or the same galaxy of a playoff appearance in several years now. But this is a team that has really turned their season around and shows a lot of great young talent, and that 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 made the difference for them against the Miami Heat. I mean, the Heat held on to a 4-point lead, which they squandered. A crazy Kobe White three forces overtime. Bam Adebayo went down early after that mix up with LaMelo Ball, in which he was tripped, I believe it was, but went down hard. Ball was fined for that. But this is a team that I look at this and look, the Magic beat the Hornets when the Hornets looked like they were going to be a weak Eastern Conference team again early in the season. The Magic were able to beat them by double digits. After that, the Magic proceeded to lose the next 3 games by double digits. And it just goes to show the growth of this Hornets team, and they're just a bad matchup for the Magic. They really are, especially when they can, hit their perimeter shots. And Con Knipple, the rookie, he had a rookie kind of postseason game that just happens sometimes. He went 2 for 12 from the field, 0 for 6 from three for just 6 points. He had 4 fouls. Um, I don't see him doing that again. That game's over with. That playoff overtime atmosphere that the Hornets were able to reign victorious in, that right there, just like that is enough to help like calm some nerves and instill confidence for a young team that really doesn't have much of a veteran presence. I mean, outside of like Grant Williams and Pat Connaughton, like, this is a really young group. And so, Miles Bridges had the best shooting night. He had 28 points. LaMelo Ball had 30, but he went 2 for 16 from three. Who's to say he'll shoot that poorly again? Brandon Miller, 9 of 17, 5 of 10. He was efficient. So this is a group that now they have a win in a postseason atmosphere under their belt and have the confidence and realize the type of hold that they have over the Magic this season, winning the last 3 games by those double digits. And so this isn't going to be easy for the Magic. And Paolo, he talked about it after the game, and this is something he said before. He said, they've kicked our ass this year. And it's true. Charlotte has. And he understands what this team has to do. Desmond Bain understands what this team has to do going into Friday. And it seems like they're relishing the opportunity, but it's not enough to relish it. Can you execute in front of your home fans and not let this already extremely turbulent season have a disastrous end? We'll just have to find out. I'm going to be at shoot around tomorrow. I plan on coming to you guys with a YouTube short after shoot around just to kind of give my thoughts on what was talked about real quick. I'll have stories on the roundtable site throughout the day. Uh, and then I will be in the building tomorrow night. And my goal is to come to you guys. I know I've been saying this isn't and it hasn't worked out lately, but to come to you guys with a show, a full show just like this from the Kia Center, whether it's for the final time or this team does move on to face the Detroit Pistons and give themselves a little more life heading into the playoffs. But nevertheless, you guys will be hearing from me again soon. As always, I appreciate the support, especially as the season is closing in on the end here. But don't worry. I mean, you're going to hear from me plenty throughout the summer as well. I imagine that there's going to be a lot of off-season decisions that have to be made, regardless of whether or not the Magic advance past tomorrow night or not. So thank you again for keeping up with me. Thank you for tuning into the channel. I'm Don Strouble, and this has been Full Court Magic.